Hello, my name is Ziad Rejabi, and today I'm going to show you how to leverage the Open XML SDK to extend the reach of Excel services. So Excel is a great tool for connecting to specific types of data sources, like databases, or particular file formats, like XML. Unfortunately, Excel has no concept of connecting to other types of Office documents, for example, Word files. So today I'm going to show you how to create a chart that's hosted within Excel service that represents data contained within a library of Word documents. So I'm going to leverage the Open XML SDK to gather the data, and then I'm going to use Excel services to display the resulting chart. So as a program manager within Office, one of our tasks is to write specifications for new features being introduced into the product. Let me show you an example here. So we'll go ahead and open up this document here called Anchoring. And there's a couple of key points here that I want to show you. The first thing is each specification is associated with a program manager. So in this case, this anchoring specification is associated with a program manager named Brian Jones. The next thing is each specification can range from stage 0 to stage 5, which means it's a specification status. Stage 0 specification status essentially means the spec is a placeholder spec, which means that there's actually no content written within the specification. Stage 5 means that the specification has been fully designed and fully written and is now ready to be handed off to the developer to be coded. So in this case, this anchoring specification is actually in stage 4, which means we still need to do a review before we hand it off to a developer. The next thing I want to point out here is when a program manager begins to write his or her specification, he or she will inevitably run into open issues. To help us track these open issues, we've defined a new style or custom style within our template called Issue. Issue essentially applies a background color to the paragraph with a yellowish color. This helps us quickly identify where the open issues are so we can address those before we hand the specification off to a developer. So wouldn't it be great to have a chart that represents the health of our specification library? In other words, wouldn't it be great to have a chart that shows all the program managers and the number of open issues that he or she has across the different stages of the spec? So that's what we're going to do. So to help us out here, I have created a template called template here, and we'll open this up in Excel. And this file here just contains a sheet with an empty chart. And this chart just represents the final look of the chart that I want to have reported. So the number of open issues across the different spec stages, and all I need to do now is just pump in the data of each of the program managers in column A, and then the values of the number of open issues across the different stages. So let's see the solution in action, and then I'll show you guys the code. So notice first off that Brian Jones here doesn't really have that many open issues. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a specification, we're going to copy and paste this content here. That way we're going to pump in a lot more open issues to the spec. Alright, and then we'll save it out, we'll close them down, and then we'll go back and we will hit the button up here called Update Chart. And what Update Chart is going to do, it's going to use the Open XML SDK to go and read all the documents within my library, and then it's going to gather all the data of the number of open issues and then inject that data into the specific location within my Excel template. So now if we go down, notice that Brian Jones's open issues for his stage 4 spec has now jumped up quite significantly. So how did I do this? Let me show you guys the code real quick. So here's my button for that update chart, and the way that I'm storing in the data is I'm going to use a hash table to store my data. The next thing I need to do is get my SharePoint site and then iterate through the entire library, and that's what I'm going to do here by going to SharePoint Web and then just going through each of the items within my library. The next thing I need to do is for every item, open that document up with the Open XML SDK, and right here, this is the word processing document, my doc, that opens up the document with the SDK. The next thing I need to do is find the particular content. So the first content I need to get is the program manager. Program manager name is associated with a particular content control, and this is how you could get the content control with a specific name here for PM. Once I have the PM name, the next thing I need to do is figure out all the paragraphs that have the issue applied. And what I have here, I've defined my own method called getParagraphListByStyle. So let's go to that definition real quick. And what that's going to do, it has a link query inside here that is essentially going to basically go to the document, grab all the descendants of type paragraph, and then check to see if the paragraph is in style. And that method is essentially written right here. And all paragraph styles are contained within paragraph properties. And once I have the paragraph properties, and I know there's a paragraph properties in there, I could get the paragraph style. And if the paragraph style equals that style name, I'll return true, otherwise return false. And that just completes my entire link query here. And that will get me all the paragraphs with a particular style. So that's kind of easy to do. So if we go back, at that point I have all my paragraphs. And then I can go calculate the number of open issues. And the next thing I need to do is grab the other content control that has the spec status. Once I have that spec status, calculate if it's stage 0 all the way to stage 5. So one of 6 possibilities there. And then once I have all this data, I'm going to go and inject all this stuff within my hash table. And if the hash table has a PM name already existing inside there, I'm just going to increment the number of open issues for that particular status. Otherwise, I will add the program manager to that spec, to that hash table with the appropriate number of open issues. The last step here is to go and add the data to Excel. Let's go ahead and show you that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that template, I'm going to output a output template here. It's essentially the same file, using the same functionality before as getting the file, and then using the SDK to open up my spreadsheet document this time. Once I have that, I'm going to go and then grab the chart, grab the sheet, the first sheet in the workbook, and then the sheet data contains all of it contains the table of data within my spreadsheet. So then I enumerate through the hash table, and for every program manager that I find, I'm going to create a new row within my spreadsheet, and the first cell is going to be a text cell with the program manager name, and that's how you do it there. And the second set of cells, so the next 6 cells, are going to be value cells that contain the number of open issues across the different stages. And once I have that, the last step here is to fix the chart data. Just to reference, so here's the method I have, and the fixed chart data is essentially going to change the range from 2, so $2, all the way to the $sign total count of the entire hash table. And once I have that all calculated, I hit save, and there's my solution. So if you guys want to look at this code, this is all available on Brian Jones's blog. Thank you.